All right, take it away, Andy.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining today's podcast. I'm Andy Coy. I'm the CEO of MyTrucker Pro, which is a platform that we have developed for the trucking industry. We have all kinds of stuff on MyTrucker Pro to purchase, to look at, to comment on. And I'm very excited to have Utility Pro on today because that's really, from my perspective, very high quality product and just a really good relationship we have with Utility Pro.
Thanks very much, Andy, for that introduction. I'm Jack Bay. I am the part of the marketing team here at MyTrucker Pro, and I would like to introduce David Rosenbluth from Utility Pro.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to our conversation, and it's great to be associated with MyTrucker Pro.
We're very happy to have you. So tell us what your title is at Utility Pro, what you do.
Sure. I'm the national sales manager. I oversee a crew of manufacturers representatives around the country. They all represent multiple lines in safety, construction, trucking, etc., including our Utility Pro line. They sell into the distribution market, so they're at truck equipment distributors, they're at truck manufacturers, tow truck supply, also construction supply, safety supply, places like that. Anywhere where you might see safety equipment, they're trying to sell our Utility Pro product line into.
Oh, wow. Excellent. And I realize, I think a nice thing for us to start off with is where we're at. So I'm based in Long Beach, California, and I think you're all the way on the other coast.
Yes, I am. I'm over on the East Coast. I'm in West Hartford, Connecticut, a suburb of Hartford. And the company is based in New York City. We have warehouse in New Jersey and in Fontana, California. So we ship from both coasts, and that way we have the ability to, as often as we can, ship from the warehouse with the shortest distance to the customer.
Yeah, I mean, you've been our vendor for quite a while now, and it's been really impressive how quickly people get their products. You send us the tracking link, and they already have it. So
well,
good on you.
that I can't take too much credit for that. I'll say that's a FedEx UPS thing. Probably during the Christmas rush, it probably wasn't that quick, because I know from my perspective, I was pulling out what's left of my hair most of those 2 weeks leading up to the holiday, because they're so inundated that the tracking doesn't get updated, and you never really know, did it go? Where is it? You come to rely on the technology so much, and then all of a sudden the technology fails, and it's almost like, oh God, what do we do now?
Yeah. I mean, it just shows.
We do pride ourselves on the service, though. That's important. We do pride ourselves on service and quick response and quick follow-up when needed. I believe that, I've said this before, I've said it to Andy probably, we're in a Me Too business. There's a lot of people who make and sell the same product I have, okay? And the product, high visibility, is limited by the rules and constraints of meeting standards. So therefore, stylistically, you can only do so much. So differentiate yourself, you need, value adds. One of our value adds, in my opinion, is our service and our follow through. And in this day and age, I think that's a service that people have come to appreciate more and more.
I agree. And I think that is one of the values that we both align our companies by. MyTrucker Pro is really, really interested in service first. I mean, especially if we're going to be in this industry that is a service providing industry, transportation a lot of the time, like that, we're talking about that, right?
Right. Right.
You know,
That's exactly right. Yeah.
we need to pat each other on the back, basically.
Because no one else is gonna.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's taken for granted because it's usually done so well,
Right.
but by your community,
Exactly.
So you just come to rely on it and don't think twice about it.
So, you've sort of given a little bit of a glimpse into what Utility Pro is and what you do, but is there a quick kind of elevator pitch you can give me?
Sure, sure. We Utility Pro is a division of a company called Market Share Brands, which has three separate clothing companies as a part of it. One is a company that makes little girls' dresses that go into fancy department stores like Saks and Bergdorf Goodman. The second is a high-end women's raincoat company into some of those same markets. It's part of the reason why we're based in New York City, because buyers for those types of places are based in New York. And the third segment is Utility Pro, which the catch-all is workwear, but over the past 15 years, it's almost been exclusively high visibility workwear. Our point of difference is or has been that we utilize the Teflon fabric protector. So it acts as a repellent on the clothing. It keeps you cleaner longer, brighter longer, safer longer. So as I've said once before, you can put everybody's clothing in the high vis world up on a wall and ask anybody to pick out which is the manufacturer of which item, and nobody can because we all look the same because of those rules I was talking about. Okay, since we all look the same, the only way to differentiate yourself is with value add features and benefits. One of ours is the Teflon fabric protector. Yeah, and the second one for us is we're a true clothing manufacturer, like I said, making women's raincoats and girls' clothing. So we have a long time, very experienced designer of clothing who makes the tech sheets, who does the sampling, who works with the factory that we have long-standing relations with. So we've kind of got like a vertical integration thing going.
Wow. Sounds like you know exactly what you're doing, and it's so interesting to hear the three different facets of the company and how it goes from.
Yeah, it is a slightly strange combination, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, but I think it just goes to show how connected all of this is. Like clothing is clothing, right?
If you know
And
how
if
to
you,
design clothing, it doesn't matter what kind of garment it is, and probably our workwear background comes from the fact that we used to do private label for Sears back in the day when Sears was a real viable business. And we made the Craftsman workwear for Sears, and it was in about 100 stores. So we were the maker behind that label. And then after that, we did some work for Walmart. We made the Jesse James brand for a couple of years till Walmart canned Jesse James. So we're used to making clothing for working people. Our whole thing about that is taking fabric that people are used to wearing in their everyday lives and being able to use it in a work situation. So I always say to people, you want to be wearing clothing that you forget you have on.
yeah,
Like right now, you and I are sitting here and, Jack, you're not tugging on your, or pulling at the sleeve, right? I'm not doing that with my shirt. It's because it fits. We take it for granted. Well, you want the same thing in high visibility clothing. Think about it in your work, in your field, let's say in trucking, truckers are going to sit in that cab for a long time. They may be wearing my jacket, one, because it's warm, and two, because that when they get out of the cab, they got to be seen. It's the middle of the night, whatever their deal is, they're making a delivery, etc. The last thing they want to do is have to make adjustments and what have you. You just want to forget you got it on. And so that's kind of the mindset we have with approaching the choice of fabric and the cut of the garment and who's going to use it and why.
That's so interesting.
That's kind of how we approach it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of these people, not only do they want to be comfortable, but they want to know that they're going to be seen. And it sounds like you have the tech behind the fabric that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, we'd like to think so. But the consumer of the good has matured. Okay. 20 years ago, you had 2 or 3 styles and that was fine. And you wore it because you had to. It was a have to. Okay. What's happened over time is, and also with the evolution of fabrics out there, and you think about it, I think folks like Under Armour, Columbia, and North Face came out with a lot of innovative poly-based fabrics that were lighter in bulk, but still performed the task of cutting the wind or repelling, moisture with comfort, but without, all that bulk. And that's what we've been trying to do over the years, is have more pieces that kind of fit those molds. And when people touch the fabric, they go, man, that feels just like that jacket I wear when I'm not working. And you're halfway home then, somebody's already endorsing it just based on that. So that's kind of our sensibilities and how we approach it.
Interesting. So what's your most popular Utility Pro product?
It's probably our the part number is UHV 425. It's our zip up full zip soft shell hoodie. It's comes in yellow on top with a black bottom and black at the sleeves. It's an ANSI class 3, which is the highest classification for high visibility. We sell most of it in yellow. We sell a little bit in orange. Orange used to be a bigger deal in that world, but yellow is really the dominant color now. Some people call it yellow, some people call it lime green. To me, it's a yellow. It makes no difference. But that product is very versatile. We all know people love hoodies, in everyday life. And that product really works because you can layer underneath when it's really, really cold, or you wear it as is and you can stay pretty darn warm in what I would call moderate winter temperatures, let's say in the low 40s type of deal. You don't need much layering underneath. So it's like a 9-month-a-year product. And I think that has something to do with it as well.
So is this the product you were talking about?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah.
As you can see, you can get it on our website.
Yep. Yeah. It's and it comes in a large range of sizes, from small all the way up to 2XL tall. And we keep that one very well stocked, I can assure you, because it is our most popular product. Very versatile, and very comfortable. I say it's form fitting without being constricting. That's the way I describe it.
That is a really important distinction. Form fitting without being constricting.
Right. Yeah. And that again is just due to the evolution of fabric these days.
So you can feel free to give a little bit more of a rundown of the products or product lines that are popular or that you'd like to highlight.
Well, I would say there are other products that are in that same soft shell area. We have UHV 427, which is a slightly lighter weight jacket, and we have the UHV 828, which also features our proprietary warm-up lining, which is an aluminized lining, so that your body heat reflects off it and keeps you warm without any bulk at all. If people are familiar with Columbia's Omni heat linings, it's and they ski, you probably are. It's the same principle. We also have on the women's side, we have the most complete line of women's high visibility in the industry, period, end of story. We have 7 pieces now with a couple more ideas coming. Women are growing in the trucking field for sure, and in the construction world. And probably the best product in terms of popularity is the UHV 668, which is a really stylish looking, but very durable soft shell for women. That particular piece is outstanding, and really sharp looking. And it cuts the wind. I get reports on women who are wearing it out at job sites in the winter time, and they're staying plenty warm. The quarter zip soft shell is very similar as well. So we have a strong offering in women's, because it's becoming without question, it's becoming a growing part of the trucking world as well as the construction world. The other thing that we do is we have more, shall I say, traditional pieces that sell very well. Bomber jackets have always been a big deal. Waist length jackets. Our UHV 563, which is our premium bomber with a removable liner, has been a steady and strong product for just about as long as the company's been around. And we're very strong in rainwear now. And what rainwear can do also in the trucking world is it's not a cumbersome, heavy item, but you can wear it for that kind of weather, and the fabric's breathable, so it's not like the old school, almost like rubberized rain jackets that we all grew up with that feel like you got 20 pounds on your shoulders and you're all hunched over from it. And then your body heat's held, and you're
Yeah,
sweating.
so you've got like the rain inside.
Right.
Yep.
You're like, why am I wet? Well, it's because you're sweating like a pig, because the jacket doesn't breathe.
Yeah.
So and the rainwear comes both as as an ANSI piece and in a navy for those who don't want the bright yellow, and it also comes in a hunter green. So we kind of go across the line. I say to some people, say, look, I only have an occasional need for wearing an ANSI piece, and I usually point people towards the rain piece, because I say, well, you've also got yourself a rain jacket in case you need it. You don't have to have another rain jacket or a poncho in your truck, in your cab. You can just have this one piece and wear it when you need it, period. And it's light on you, and you don't have to worry about it. So, I guess the thing that I would emphasize is that we have pieces that cover all seasons and all parts of the country. Let's say you're a Southern California person, or you're in the southeastern part of the United States, and you don't get much past a t-shirt. Well, we've got short and long for that. And what we're finding is more and more people are buying long sleeves, even for the summertime, because the shirts built in SPF.
Yeah.
And we're seeing much more of that, where people are protecting themselves against the sun. It's a lot easier to wear a shirt than to go fumbling around in your truck for some sunscreen, and worrying about that. Instead, you have your shirt on. It's extremely lightweight. It's breathable. It's wicking, and that way you can just you can protect yourself from the sun, and also be seen when you climb out of the cab.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think also, I mean, a lot of what you're selling, you don't have to be in trucking or construction or any of those things to actually want those products as well. Like, you sell a really good raincoat. I would have liked to have that,
Yeah, lately.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and we get a lot of folks who buy some of our stuff who are who are big dog walkers. So they're out there at dusk or at dawn, when that light's really a little freaky and it's not quite so clear who's ahead of you or behind you, etc. They get that extra comfort of having a jacket on, so that either the car lights hit the reflective stripes, or as the daylight breaks, you can see the color itself. Jacket, and the person will stand out. So we do get folks who buy things more for a non-professional reason as well. It's something that it's become ubiquitous in the world. Over the last 15 to almost 20 years from when it first really hit the scene hard. And a fellow manufacturer at the time who said, he goes, mark my words, he goes, what stands out now isn't going to stand out because there's going to be so much of it out there. And if you think about it, Jack, you see garbage truck drivers who never leave those automated trucks anymore, but they're wearing high vis. School bus drivers are wearing high vis. Okay. Delivery drivers are wearing high vis. Cable TV guys, people doing fiber optic, they're wearing high vis. You know, and that's beyond policemen directing traffic, etc., construction people. So there are, it's become the kind of thing that it's just become part of the, I don't want to say culture, but just part of the atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah.
And like you said, people are using it on a personal basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like cyclists definitely would want to use
Absolutely.
high vis type wear.
Hiking, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. So
yeah.
You're right. You know, I know the MyTrucker Pro audience might be more targeted, you know, for obvious professional reasons, but you know, I'm sure in some cases we'll see some of your folks buy it for a personal reason. Heck, we've got the dog products.
That's true. There is a dog vest.
I know people in your in that world have companions in the cab in the big rigs, and even if they don't, they got pets at home, and they throw those things on, and you know, they can see the little guy or gal, four-legged friend, you know, from a distance with the lighting. So we try to cover all the bases.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like you have. Are there any new products, up and coming products that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we had success this year with some of the warm-up lining type products, including one that was successful with you folks, which was the UHE 919, which is the warm-up vest. And we're bringing that back, obviously, with a vengeance in terms of stock, and our UPA 889, which was the black jacket with stripes and the warm-up lining. And we're looking at more combinations using the warm-up lining, because it's obvious to us that people are moving away from bulk. They're moving away from what I would call, you know, your dad's ski jacket, you know, and the whoosh whoosh of the jacket, and that like Michelin,
the marshmallow, you know? Suit.
Right, exactly, the marshmallow suit. The guy and the gal walk out and they look like Arnold Schwarzenegger because they can't move. So we've been looking at that and trying to come up with more combinations of items like that. You know, same thing with we've dabbled. We have a bib overall that's lined but not too heavily lined, the UHV 500, and we're looking at doing one possibly with the warm-up lining in it as well. So that's probably the area that we're concentrating on the most, but we're trying to do it also in conjunction with some of our soft shell material, like what was on the 425 hoodie and the 427 and those, because of the comfort and flexibility of that fabric, and then couple it with a lightweight lining that still gives you a lot of warmth. So we're messing around with combinations like that. Usually product development can take, you know, about 18 months before we bring something to market. You know, we want to make sure it's right. We send it out to some folks to check out and test. And they come back, there might be revisions, add a pocket here, delete this, move that, you know, the usual stuff. Find interestingly enough is most people come back and tell you about some feature they want that is unique to them, and they think everybody needs it. And that's because I have this theory. As a person who used to do a lot of purchasing, salesmen would come to me and say, hey, can you get that? But I need that widget and I need it left-handed. And I would say, there's a reason nobody makes it left-handed. It's because nobody but you wants it. So, you know, you have to, you know, you see, that's why we put it out there to a lot of people. So we try to get a consensus, you know, and not just end up with something that somebody, you know, sold us on in terms of a concept or a change that in fact was just their pet project, you know, for their particular circumstance. We're never going to be able to please everybody all the time. but we do take a consensus from some people we trust and some distributors and other folks who understand clothing.
Excellent. Well, it's been really great talking with you. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with, essentially?
Well, first of all, Utility Pro is committed to providing quality product. That is above all the way it is. We are not sacrificing quality in the name of price. We are not going to be the rock bottom guy. I'll tell all your customers that we're not going to be the rock bottom guy, but we're going to be your value guy. Okay, meaning that when you buy something from me, it's going to last. It's not going to rip. It's not going to tear. It's not going to, the zippers aren't going to break. And if they do, we replace it anyway, but it's very low incidence of that. And when you buy a large from me and then you come back 2 years later to buy a large, it's the same large.
That's super important.
We haven't changed it to save a dime. We haven't cut a quarter of an inch off the sleeve or from the armpit hole or anywhere. Nothing changes. Our spec is our spec. So we're committed to that consistency of and quality. And we're also committed to the trucking community as a whole, in that so many of our items originally emanated from input from, especially from the tow truck business. And so we understand where many of your members come from, what their needs are, and we listen, and we will always listen to what your members and others in the trucking community have to say about what they're looking for in a garment while they're doing their job.
Well, that sounds excellent. I feel like that's a really easy thing to say, that you will listen and keep the consistency of your products, but as a consumer of any kind of garment, it is so frustrating to go try and buy the same thing I bought like a year ago or 2 years ago, and it's slightly different, not the same fabric, not the same cut anymore. And I feel like it's just so valuable to hear the where you have gotten all your research from and where you have grown as a company and how you're changing. It's really quite remarkable how much you've kept transportation in that.
Well, I appreciate that. If you stand still, people are going to pass you by. And we're basically reacting to some degree to what the consumers are telling us in whatever endeavor they're in, whether it's in construction or in trucking or in any related field. So you have to respond to the need. Otherwise, you're going to look up one day and realize that what you have doesn't mean anything.
And that is a great quote to end on, to be honest. I'd like to thank you, Dave, for joining us on this episode with MyTrucker Pro. You can find this recording on our YouTube channel. It'll also be on our socials.